Hello, and welcome to the Penultimate Conquest podcast, where we talk about video games. I'm your host, Ruben, and today I have with me Andrew,
Hi, Andrew Fitzsimmons here. Yeah.
Eric,
Hi, my name's Eric.
and
Obviously.
and
guys,
Austin.
my name's Austin.
Today we are talking about this gen's greatest exclusives, and let's just jump right into it. We'll start with PlayStation because PlayStation just dominated this generation. Anybody want to go first?
I'll go first because I haven't played all the major exclusives yet, so I'll knock mine off before you steal it.
Okay.
I think the one I want to start is like Horizon Zero Dawn. Man, that was a start of a franchise that I think is going to stick around and was super important for Sony.
Okay. I tried to play Horizon Zero Dawn and was not a fan of it at all. Like I sunk in like at least 30 hours of that game, and I was just like, okay, like, sure.
Oh, you X-bot. How much is Nick Eden paying you?
Hey, what Nick Eden pays me is none of your business, sir, okay?
Well, even if you didn't like the game, like fair enough, we've all got different tastes. I think
Yeah, of course.
the world building alone in that game was like pretty phenomenal. I can't remember another game recently where I've been so surprised for the twist of like the reveal of just where I am. Like the fact that was even a twist is pretty cool. And when they first announced the game, they kind of showed off robot animals, robot dinosaurs.
Yep.
To me, that's not enough to sell a game. But they made that work, and they turned that into a game mechanic and a story and a world. And they created Aloy, a character who I think basically people now symbolize. Like she's one of the icons for PlayStation in a matter of one game, which is pretty amazing.
Okay. All right. Go ahead.
I'd say I was a little different. All they had to do was say, hey, we got robot dinosaurs. All right, I'll buy your game.
See, that's what got me, the robot dinosaurs, and that's what ultimately took me out of the game, the robot dinosaurs. Like, okay, we get it. Like, it's it just didn't do much for me.
That's interesting because I found they use them in many different ways. So, of course, you have your like basic standard enemy, right? And you fight them. And different sort of dinosaurs take different tactics, but they also have the ones that are like giraffe-like, which then become your, Ubisoft-style game towers. Yeah. And they're also your resource points. Like you use them to gather materials to then craft and improve. So, which like other games have done, like Far Cry as well. But they've tried to use one mechanic in like a variety of ways possible, like in many ways as possible, and then also adjust them. So you've got some that like hunt you down, some that are flying beasts that like when you're starting out terrify the crap out of you, right? Those flying robot dinosaurs will destroy you, but then as you get better and you learn the tactics and you improve, you crush them. And I don't know, I thought it felt really good, the progression in that game.
Austin, what do you think? Look like you're pondering there.
No, for Horizon Zero Dawn, I was like, I'm kind of in the middle, man. Like, I liked it. I think it's a good game. I'll probably give it, I don't put no scores on it, but it was, to me, like, I like the combat, I like the world, everything. Oh, that was working for me. It was just Aloy, man. I didn't get into Aloy. Like, for me, Aloy, she was just kind of bland. I couldn't really connect with her in any way. Like, she was just kind of there. Like, I was just, like, just playing as her. And, like, when I got to the story beats, I'm like, okay, this is fine. Let me get back to the combat. That's where I really was having fun, was just messing around in the world, finding new, dinosaur robots and, like, taking down them and figuring out how, okay, this one's different. How can I go about this way with my new gear and all that. So all that was fun, but to me the story was just not there until like the very end. I was like, okay, now I'm interested. Now I see where this can be something cool. But it didn't really happen until like the very end of the game. So I really love this stuff way more than like the tribe stuff that there was going on with. So I feel like the sequel will be pretty better. Like for me, like the story wise will be better for me because I feel like they're just going to territory where it's like, oh, like how this really happened and like the sci-fi, like futuristic stuff more than the tribal stuff. So that's what I'm kind of like in the middle of. But I liked it. I think it's a good game, but I'm not like in love with it.
Mm-hmm. And I'll even give that the story is probably one of the weaker points of the game for sure. Yes. The fact that I think most of us probably can't name anyone in the game except Aloy and maybe the main villain is a weakness. But I still was a world that I was just enthralled with and wanted to explore more. But I get it's not going to work for everyone. That's fine.
Absolutely. I think graphics wise, it was beautiful. Pretty much like you said, everything except the story. And for me, I need a story to like take the reins, just take me on a journey, you know? And it just didn't do anything for me, which is fine, you know, to each their own. But I'm glad you liked it. I'm really glad everybody else liked it, and I'm glad it's getting a sequel.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Austin, what was your pick for this generation?
For PlayStation, I'm going to go with Until Dawn, man. Until Dawn was such a wonderful game that I feel like a lot of people like don't talk about anymore because it's been so long. But I still really think about that game a lot and wish like we got more from that. I know Supermassive is doing their little like mini series right now, but I really wanted Until like Dawn sequel. Not like the Cabin in the Woods type S, but more like in that vein of what they were doing, because I feel like they did really well with that first game. I really liked the characters in that. I felt like I was on the edge of my seat the whole time. It had some twists in there that I wasn't expecting. I was like, oh, this is going somewhere way different than I thought it would go. So they did like a lot of cool things in that game that I really have to, respect, because I really enjoyed that game a lot. And it's actually a good game to play when like someone has not really into video games. Like, hey, I need to show you this game. Like, you can like just experience this with me. So I think that's pretty fun. While the choices, and I feel like the choices matter, and like you can have everybody die or everybody can live. I think that's a cool aspect to it. So yeah, I think that game is really fun, and I want to give it a shout out before we get into like the big major ones later on.
Okay. I have not yet played Until Dawn, which is kind of a travesty because I've heard really good things about it. I'm excited to try it. I think that's probably going to be the next game I play after I finish Ghost.
Oh, nice.
Just because everybody's been telling me like you got to play this. You need to play this. It's a really good game.
Also, kudos to Sony for like supporting exclusive scary game. You don't see many scary games just in general, and the fact that we're going, hey, we want to make an exclusive scary game, and how it got received the way it did, just everyone loved it. Now, granted, it wasn't, everyone's game of the year, but it was a big surprise.
And to add to that, I would go ahead.
I'll just add that a little bit. I just say I'm a huge horror fan, so maybe I'm a little biased because I really love horror games, and like that. And for me, somebody doing that, I was like, oh, this got me like amped up and excited. So I just want to add that in there, like, 'cause I'm a huge horror guy, so that really helped and worked for me.
And I was going to add, so he mentioned it's a horror game, right? And it's kind of bold for Sony to fund one of those directly. But in addition to that, it's also basically a point-and-click adventure game. Obviously, it's modernized, but that's not a genre that does too well generally. There's a few exceptions, The Walking Dead, etc. But the fact that they still got behind that, put the money behind it, put Hollywood talent behind it, and it was a fantastic. I don't like horror games, and I loved that game, so I got to give it props.
I was not aware that it was a point-and-click adventure game. Like, is it sort of similar to like the Walking Dead? Like
Yes and no. He'll explain it better probably.
Okay.
Like, I would say it's a point-and-click adventure with what are the real-time button pressing sort of things like God of War introduced.
Okay.
It's just it's the evolution of that genre. I guess I should clear myself up, but I'll let him continue on that.
Yeah, I agree with that statement. It's like an evolution of like Telltale's doing. Like, it does. It's like it's not janky like Telltale. That's what maybe like. I mean, Telltale's fun and all, but it's super janky. Like, it's so stuff. Like, you're like it's like, but this it's more, you feel it more. You immerse more in it. I mean, it is point and click, but it's so much more immersive than Telltale ever could be.
Okay. All right. I'll take it. I like that.
Yeah, quick time events, and it's super fast and tense, and it actually like makes you use tense button presses to make high like emotional scenes impact more as you're trying to reach and push everything and hold it. It's really good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Eric. You're up next.
This is difficult because there's like 3 of them right now that I could say, but I have to go with the one that is my favorite PlayStation exclusive, and the fact that they made a fantastic Spider-Man game. And so Spider-Man is so special and unique to me, and of course to everyone else. Obviously, I don't own Spider-Man, but I remember that E3 when they announced that they're making a Spider-Man game. Of course, there was all that rumors that Sucker Punch was making one, and then that E3 they showed the Insomniac logo. I was like, oh my god, no, Insomniac's doing it. And then they show that trailer. I was just like, I was weeping on the floor because like Spider-Man means so much to me. And so actually playing the game, it's just so much fun. It's the most fun I've had in a game probably since Kingdom Hearts 2 on the PS2.
Oh God! All right,
Just,
I
just
agree
swinging,
with everything.
just swinging around New York City. It does not get tiresome. It does not get boring. It does not get stale. Just flipping around, doing tricks and stuff. It's a fantastic game.
It really is. That game, I like what they did story wise with that game, with the whole Doc Ock stuff and how he was like pretty much the main villain. I like the fact that they included Miles Morales, which was pretty crazy to me to think like, oh, okay, we're going that route, but I'll take it. I like that we're really gonna get a story focused on Miles Morales for PS5. Swinging in that game is just like the best feeling in the world.
So good.
Yeah, it's so good. I'm so glad that they managed to like nail it. The only problem I had was, too much water.
Too much.
Too much water in those puddles.
That joke.
I kid, of course. It was beautiful. I loved it. I like that they added as many like suits that they possibly could have. Yeah, I loved everything about that game.
I love the fact that just swinging around, you could just see that. Oh, look, there's Avengers Tower. There's the Wakandan Embassy. There's the Sanctum Sanctorum right there. It all felt like, we're so used to the MCU and everything, and it was still so crazy to see it though in a game form.
Yeah.
Just it's all connected, but I don't want to talk too much about it because I want to let other people talk. But Spider-Man is just so great, and the fact that they were able to make a fantastic Spider-Man game is just so good.
Yeah. Anybody else have feelings about Spider-Man?
You go ahead.
Okay. So I'm a bit different than most people in the gaming sphere. I am not one for superheroes. It just doesn't click with me. It doesn't work. I know I'm a weirdo. MCU, I've seen.
You're a monster is what you are.
I know I'm a horrible human being. I get it. But Spider-Man for PS4 is one of the most fun games I've played in a long time. Like, I only bought it because of the reviews and the hype, and I was just not. It took me about a year or so to get to it because I didn't care. And then I started it up, and it sunk its like teeth into me, its little spider fangs. And yeah, just moving around is so fluid and fun. I almost did everything in that game, like almost 100% of it in a matter of like 3 days. There was a few little things I just didn't want to do. There was, I can't remember the character's name, but they wanted you to do like a bunch of tasks for like social media followers sort of stuff. Didn't enjoy that.
Screwball.
But everything else was a lot of fun. Yeah, Screwball. But the rest of it I had a lot of fun with. And the story was really surprising. As someone who's not into comics, I kind of liked how it, like all the areas it sort of touched. And even though I wasn't a fan who knew all these characters, I still kind of figured out like, oh, it's referencing something. And yeah, I haven't seen Doctor Strange, but oh, this is the Doctor Strange building. This is that. And that was really cool for me. And maybe converted me into a slight superhero fan.
There you go.
But yeah, no, I like Arkham too, but those are the two right now. But I'll give Miles Morales a shot. That's a huge sell for someone who doesn't care about superheroes.
Yeah, I'd say so.
It's fantastic that we're about to get a Black-led superhero game in 2020, and that, like, for me, because like Peter Parker, I grew up with Peter Parker and stuff, so this game means a lot to me. But there's someone out there who like Miles Morales is like their hero, and so they're going to be able to play as Miles this holiday, and it's just so special. And like Insomniac just did such a good job with that.
Sorry,
I'm going to go with the.
No,
I mean,
go ahead.
Spider-Man is one of my favorite PlayStation exclusives as well. I put it in my top 5, honestly. Fun, like I mean, y'all said all the great points about it. Like, only thing I could say is like I wish they would have did a little bit more, like further with the story. Like I can tell, it's some of the stories are okay. I can see where this is going. It's kind of maybe predictable in a way because like we see these characters, we see these villains. Like I understand that, and we know kind of where they're going. But I mean, they did do some cool twists and like cool like characters, like a different spin on some characters that we know and love that I really liked. And I feel like they could push it a little bit more. So I'm really excited for the sequel and see what they do with that. You know, when I feel like, are they setting up for the what was it, the Doc Ock? No,
the Sinister Six.
6, yes, they're setting that up, I think. So that'd be pretty fun to do.
I mean,
Yeah.
they did the Sinister Six in the game.
And that was the greatest part of that game. I could think that scene where Doc you see Doc for the first time, it hits you emotionally speaking, and it hits you like, oh shit, Peter, I'm real sorry. Like, I know he's your mentor and he's the guy that you're working with, and you think he's a genius, but he thinks that this life of crime is gonna do him better than, like he thinks like the life of crime is the way to go, which sucks.
How about them though for also having the spine to kill Aunt May in this game?
Yeah, that's
Like
more
that was insane.
Yeah, I can't believe that actually happened. That's one of the what I was alluding to earlier about the twist. I was like, oh, okay, y'all going this way. I was like, okay, shout out to Aunt May. I always love when a new Spider-Man anything comes out because they do Aunt May like so different like every time. Like, I love the little different takes on Aunt May. It's so fun. I will say like the little crimes you could do. Like I don't know, is anybody platinum the game?
Crimes you can stop. Not Spider-Man would never do crimes.
Yeah, don't do crimes, but like stop the crimes. Like I feel like they could do a little bit more with that. Like add a little bit more because like Mouse Platinum kind of got samey, but
they could have added like I would say at least 2 more like different crimes, but yeah.
2 crimes.
But like 2 different add to the list. Like you can't always stop I completely forgot about the crime in the game,
like a vehicle being robbed and you like swing and
yeah.
You do it over and over.
Yeah,
maybe next time add a motorcycle,
Mm-hmm.
or somebody on a jet ski. I don't know.
I would also say, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say another fault with Spider-Man, and I'd love the game, as I think the boss battles are a little weak sometimes.
Okay. Any specific boss you have in mind? Oh, Andrew, you froze.
Oh, we lost him. We lost him. Andrew. Yeah. I think he was going to say Spider-Man is the greatest game ever made. That's exactly what he was going to say, obviously. So.
Let me message him and let him know to like probably back out and back in.
All right, Austin, let's fill time. Who's on first?
Who's on? Me? Who's?
Oh, he doesn't get the joke.
What?
It's an old comedy.
Abbott and Costello. Who's on first? Highly recommend.
Yes.
Okay, I haven't seen it.
Out and come back in. While we wait for Andrew, what's one thing that you would change about Spider-Man besides the crimes?
Thing I would change about Spider-Man.
Like, if you think the game, what's one thing that could have turned that game into the masterpiece?
See, like the problem with that is, like, for me personally, the game is perfect, but so it's hard for me to change any. Maybe like all the fetch questy stuff. Like I know sometimes some of the Taskmaster challenges were a bit just ugh. Like they were fun to do. Like I enjoyed doing the stealth challenges, like Predator challenges in Arkham and the combat challenges, but the drone stuff was not that fun. So maybe just some light changes. I really would not change much to that game.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, when you said stealth, like it's not really a lot of stealth in the game. Like I felt like I was trying to do stealth and it just wound up me just back in there just punching everybody and just
I hear you.
combat. I feel like they could have done stealth a little bit more like better, because in certain like areas when you like in a fighting arena, it's like it's not like a lot of stealth options. You just kind of like get up top and try to get a few guys. But
Yeah.
I feel like when I was in a stealth like mission, I feel like I wasn't like I did my stealth, but they forced me to still do combat. Like you couldn't like finish the whole entire mission fully stealth. Like they wanted you to like actually go down there and fight. So I feel like if they would have let you do like more stealth, I feel like that'd be better. So.
I see what you're saying.
I personally would have liked to see a little more Harry into the game. Like I know that they did the missions where you're on the rooftops, like doing those. Hi, Andrew is back. Andrew, do you remember what you were saying?
All I was saying is that, despite I think Spider-Man's great, I think the boss battles were a little weak sometimes. It felt a bit too video gamey. But I was also going to say another pro is some of the actual relationships between like MJ and Peter Parker felt like the most almost genuine and real romantic relationships I've seen in the game in a long time. So I wanted to give it that props too as well. But like that moment where he has to sneak out of or leave the house and he's got his pants off and it's just this little like moment of joking around and things like that. It felt really like nice and genuine.
Very true. Very true. We were trying to fill time, so I asked, "What's one thing you would change for in the game to make it a masterpiece?" And
boss fights.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's where you were trying to explain boss fights, which you were trying to give an example of who, like, what boss.
The final boss in particular was one that I found just wasn't very fun.
Okay.
You're just kind of like moving around that tower. And then I also had the one before that where, again, I'm not a superhero guy. There's like 3 villains you're fighting at the same time, and one's like flying around, and the other one's like,
Vulture.
I don't know. They just didn't work for me. They were fine. It felt kind of too forced or too gamified, I guess, but maybe that's just me.
Okay.
Yeah, the boss fights were very much set pieces, I think. Like the Vulture Electro fight was definitely a set piece.
Yeah.
So I can see what you're saying. I think the boss battles did need a little more refinement in terms of gameplay, but it's like a Spider-Man movie, so I was all good with it. So yay, Spider-Man.
I was saying that I would have liked to see more Harry in the game, like even flashbacks of Harry and Peter talking. Something else other than the side quest that Harry, quote unquote, gives you to fix up New York would have been good. All right, so I guess it's my turn for best exclusive. I'm gonna say Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Oh.
I've waited 5 years for this game, fellas, and I finally got it, and it was a fucking masterpiece. There was nothing. I would say the one thing I could possibly change for that game is the whole story, but I'll take whatever they give me. That game was so amazing. The battle system that they had, perfection. The story took a turn I did not expect. Graphics were sometimes they were great, and then other times they were like, okay. But all in all, this game was perfect for me, and I'm so glad it was perfect. I didn't need another Kingdom Hearts 3. No offense. Anybody have any thoughts of Final Fantasy VII Remake?
I haven't beaten it, but just going from I did the thing that everyone said to do and go and play the original.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't beat the original, but I kind of figured out how far Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 1 would go and play through that. And just seeing the change is just astounding.
Yeah.
Like the love that's put into it and like little details that you don't expect to be much turn into like larger things, or just you see them fleshed out in a way. You're like, that's what I imagined when I was a kid, except for me 2 months ago.
Austin, any idea? Any thoughts?
I haven't played it yet, so I can't really speak on it because I haven't even jumped in and play. I want to play it. I haven't got into it yet. I haven't played any Final Fantasy game like ever, so I'm not into this series at all. I'm not into like what I'm just so confused on how like who's who, the characters, what y'all talking about. Like, so I was gonna play Final Fantasy 7 though. It does intrigue me. It looks great. I want to play it. I played the demo and the combat was phenomenal. I really liked the combat. So
yeah,
I was like, I probably should get into it this year sometime though. Maybe when it calms down a bit, I'll play it. But yeah, I can't really speak too much on it because I haven't played it.
okay.
If you didn't know, they're not connected really usually. So like you don't need to know what happened in 6 or 8. Like they're all independent titles from start to finish. There's a few exceptions, 10, 10-2, whatever. But yeah, usually it's just 7 is 7.
Yeah.
I got you.
Eric, what did you think?
All right. So I'm about to break your heart, Ruben.
Oh God.
So I never played Final Fantasy VII, the original. So I went into this game. I mean, I knew who Cloud was. I knew who Sephiroth was. Thanks, Kingdom Hearts. But I played this game, and I think you're right. The combat is really good. I really like the combat. I didn't like leveling up materia. Yeah, that's right. Materia, right? That's what they're called.
Yes.
Cameron Hawkins right now is probably angry at me because I'm messing up this stuff.
It's like,
He's
what the
like,
fuck?
It's right now. He probably knows. But I didn't like leveling up the materia. I liked swinging the Buster Sword. That was cool.
Yeah.
And like I enjoyed Tifa, Aerith, Barrett. Like I enjoyed all the characters. Like it looked really great. I just didn't really like it a lot.
Okay.
I didn't know the story, and so it was compelling, of course, like, fighting, big corporation. They're doing bad stuff. You got to go stop them. That's pretty easy to get. But one part I think really summarizes my whole feeling with this game. So you got Austin and Andrew. You're not going to know about this, but Ruben, when you go up in the tower at the end and you can choose between the two options.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I do.
So I didn't know which did which. So I went for the stairs.
Mm-hmm.
And when they made me climb 100 floors of stairs in a game, I was about to lose my damn mind.
Well, my friend, this is why you should have played like at least the first 2 hours of Final Fantasy VII.
It was, I'm sitting there, I'm like, okay, haha, it's a funny joke. They're climbing stairs. Oh my God, I'm still climbing the stairs. And then I get to the end, I'm like, you guys maybe climb all those stairs for what? Exactly.
For the humor.
The humor was fine for like the first 10 floors.
I think games need to troll us more. I think designers should troll players more. So I'm fully down for all these stairs. I'm sorry.
But I think it's a really good game. Like, I know it's got a lot of pedigree. Like, I didn't know, like, fighting Sephiroth was great. But I equated it, I think, to watching a really great TV show that I'm just going to forget about at the end of the year.
You son of a bitch.
Yeah, like, I just...
It's also only part 1 of a story, right? They did change things, but like it's not the full everything, right? So
Eric, you're probably gonna hate me. I took the elevator first and then went back down and took all the stairs to see if they were gonna give me both. And they did not.
It is what it is. I made my choice. I stuck with it. I just really hated that moment. But I thought like the honeybee end scene was fantastic.
Yeah,
that was great. Like I heard that scene was like infamous, and I never had played it before, so I didn't know anything about it. And so I thought it was just like it was very nice. Yeah, it was. There are great moments in between it. It's like season 7 of Game of Thrones. There's a lot of great moments in it, but it just doesn't come together that much at the end.
I'm sorry, it wasn't season 7 the finale?
Season 8. Season 8 was the final season.
You got me scared there for a second. You got me scared there for a second. Okay. I accept your feedback, even though it's wrong, but I still accept it.
Okay.
Okay. We're gonna jump to which one do you guys want to do? Switch.
Are we going to do honorable mentions first?
Oh yes, that's right. Correct. Honorable mentions.
So I'll start then because I'm already talking. Mine is a cheat, but you all have to deal with it.
Okay.
My Sony exclusive, no longer exclusive because that's how everything is nowadays. And it's not even just one game; it's a series of like 7 now. Is Yakuza? Those games are the best. They're
Hell
so much
yeah.
fun. They are super melodrama, serious Japanese crime, and the other half just wacky shit. You don't know what the fuck's going on, and it's the best. And I played the PS2 one, so going back to them on like PS4. If you haven't played those games, don't think it's GTA. It's not. It's its own thing, and it deserves your attention. Holy crap, those games are amazing.
Okay. I have not played them, so I'll check.
That's
them out.
rad.
I actually just bought like the whole package. Like I'm about to like dive in with all of them. I haven't played any of them yet, but I bought Yakuza 0. I bought the Konami. Was it Konami 1
Kiwami?
and 2? Kiwami, yeah. I bought those, and I think it was like a remastered collection too, or something. I bought.
Yep.
Like I bought like a lot.
Don't listen to everyone. Start with 1. No, he's wrong.
What? No.
We won't do this. We won't do this.
I love how we said that at the same time, though. Start with 0, start with 1.
Yeah, I actually posted on the group, and it was pretty debatable which one to start with. So
they came out in an order. Play them in that order.
Well, my honorable mention we already discussed is Spider-Man. So, yeah. Awesome.
Mine would be Ratchet and Clank 2016. I really love that game. It is so fun. Like, it's so funny too. Like, you don't get many games where it's like you laugh so much playing it. Like, it's so like the dynamic between Ratchet and Clank is just like they're just bros. They're doing their thing. They're having fun, laughing and just joking around. The little one-liners they'll have is so funny. The villain is hilarious. Like, all of this is so fun and just wacky, and it's just such a good time. Beautiful game too. Like, the art style is like incredible to me. I love the way it looks, and like the new game coming out looks even better. I'm like, oh yeah,
absolutely.
Not just Ratchet and Clank. I want to give a shout out to Insomniac in general because they're just killing the game right now. Like, really for me, they're like up there, like with Naughty Dog and like Rockstar, like all the big developers. Like, they're up there now. Like, they're just murdering every game they come out with, and I just applaud them. They're a great company. Like, Ratchet and Clank is dear to my heart. Like, I play like mostly all of them. So like, yeah, I just wanted to shout out Ratchet and Clank before we get to the other. So
okay, I like it. Eric, don't disappoint me with your honorable mention.
All right, so it's not an honorable mention because it deserves its own seat at the table, but because I had to pick between them, I had to go with Spider-Man.
I'll do this to yourself.
So I would consider this 1B for me. So Spider-Man is 1A, this is 1B.
Okay.
No game has redefined a series and been a true sequel than 2018's masterpiece that is God of War.
Okay. All right.
So it was difficult for me because like Spider-Man inches out God of War for me as my favorite PlayStation exclusive just because it's Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Like if the Spider-Man game didn't come out, God of War would be my favorite PlayStation exclusive easily. So I know when people say like when a new sequel comes out and it's like, oh, they didn't really do anything different. They just made it a bigger story and stuff. They didn't add that much in terms of gunplay. Like the difference between Far Cry 3, 4, 5. They don't really change much. They just put it in a new setting. To fully change, and I don't have a better pun here, the game, like they did with the 2018's God of War, like nothing has ever been seen like that before. To completely change your gameplay, completely change just your narrative as the main character, it's never been done before.
Yeah, the reason I didn't say God of War is because I thought someone else was gonna say God of War, so I didn't want to say it because I knew someone was gonna say it and talk about it. But yes, I agree with that. God of War is a fun, amazing game. Like the story is incredible. Like what they did to revamp that series is awesome to me. Like I really didn't care for Kratos at all, but like man, when I played, it's like I'm kind of liking Kratos. He's actually I'm connecting with Kratos. I'm liking this. And I feel like him and his son dynamic was really good. I love the way that the emotional, like how Kratos is so angry in the beginning. He's like, do this, don't do this. And like, you can tell he's like kind of like trying to become like more father figure, more of a dad. And he's like, and he like doesn't want to put his hand on his son for the longest time. And he finally does. It's like, oh, you're finally coming around, Kratos. You're finally, accepting that you have a son and you're trying to go on this journey. And I love how simple like the story is in a way. It's like, we just trying to get on this mountain to spread our, of his ashes. And like, I love the boss fights as well. Like a lot of great boss fights in God of War. Like it was really fun, very cinematic. The dragon one was insane to me. Like that whole sequence was awesome. I want to shout out the camera, like just the one-shot camera. I thought that was pretty cool. How they did that, really innovative.
Fantastic.
And the combat was awesome. Like I love the axe, and also love the was it the
Blades of Chaos?
Blades of Chaos, yes. And when you get that moment was like, fuck, let's go. Like we're doing this. So that was awesome. A lot of great moments, great story, combat, awesome. Like just wanna, yeah. We can't leave this without talking about God of War because it is a pretty phenomenal game.
I completely agree. For me, God of War was the first time I've ever played a God of War game, which was a little intensified for me, I guess, because like everybody was like, you got to play the God of War games. But I didn't really have the console I had was Xbox 360, and then I got the PS3 like way late in the generation. But yeah, that game was fucking amazing, and I loved that it was a one shot. Like everything, there were no cuts. Like that is such an amazing feat for me. That like really helps for a game that you don't know what's going. Like you know what's going on, but you don't really know what to expect, I guess.
I think it's definitely I'm sorry, I cut you off.
No, go ahead.
I said it's definitely for me the greatest technical achievement in the generation of games was like the single shot, how they did everything in one shot.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm excited to see where they take the story, which I'm pretty sure everybody probably already knows where they're taking the story. Mm-hmm. I'm excited to see if Sony is doing a state of play this month and if they announce a sequel to it, which would be awesome. Yeah, it was just a really, really, really great game. I loved it.
Can I say one more thing on it?
Go ahead.
Okay, so this may come out. This is a little long-winded, but it's just I'm very passionate about this game. So God of War, the original one back in 2005, was made like it was the big macho bro, like watch it kill this stuff and everything. It was definitely made for like teenage boys who are just victims of toxic masculinity and stuff like that. It was basically made for them. So I grew up really wanting to play the games, obviously, and so I will. What you said earlier, like you couldn't play the original games. It's very hard to go back and play the original God of War games after this one, because it's just so different. And so, like I kind of grew up with Kratos as the games came out, and so like just to see him go from just one note, just angry at everything all the time, to actually have like moments of brevity and have like subtle nuances with Kratos. Like my favorite scene in the whole game is the very beginning when he's about to go down and grab the tree and the bandages come off his arm and he sees the scars and just takes like that little pause and breathes in before he covers it back up. And it's just like, oh, I was on that journey with him, and it's just so great. I don't want to talk too much about it because we got other stuff, but just God of War, it's fantastic.
Really good. Andrew, any thoughts on God of War?
So it's on my to play list because I'm a weirdo. So if God of War comes out, everyone's hyped it up. I can't just play the PS4 one. I had to go back and get the PS3 copies of it, and I played through 1 through 3. And so I did that. I quite actually enjoyed them. They do hold up, but 100%, as was mentioned, they're kind of like Dude Bro, the game. But they do try to add some humanity, and I'm really looking forward to actually digging into that because I've had it since launch day, and it's still sealed in plastic. So when I do dig into it, I already know I'm in for a treat based on just what you guys have said, what I've heard, and because I do think that those games, again, they aged for sure. But if you can get into that mindset, like, and just accept it for what it is, the originals, they're good for what they are. But the fact that they add so much, or appear to add so much, I can't confirm that. I'm excited. Like, I'm behind, but I'm behind the game, although I'm behind on playing it. So
I'm very jealous that you get to experience it for the first time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I probably should have done that as well. Well, meaning play 1 through 3 and then the Vita game.
Hell yeah, Vita.
Of course, Vita lives.
mine's somewhere collecting dust. Yeah.
All right, let's skip to the next console.
I love you, Bloodborne.
No, that's it. I really thought
We didn't talk about it. It's not on the list. It's not canon.
No, I really thought you were gonna surprise me with 1B as Knack 2, but your time is over. Okay.
Knack 2, baby. But no,
No.
Knack
Bloodborne,
1
love you.
was better.
No. Knack is
Love-
just not a great game at all.
Love you, Bloodborne. All right. I'm good.
Okay. Do you guys want to do Switch next, or do you want to talk about Xbox?
We're going to talk about Vita, and Switch is the Vita replacement, so might as well do Switch.
Okay. Great segue then.
Vita
All right.
means life.
Switch to the new life. I don't know. I got nothing.
That was actually pretty good. Who wants to go first?
I'll start because I really only have one Switch game.
Okay.
It's
Monster.
it's Breath of the Wild, obviously.
God.
I mean, like it's for me, like there's a bunch of Switch games I like, but like the only one I really like is Breath of the Wild. That's it.
Okay.
That's it. That's all we're gonna talk about, Breath of the Wild.
Okay. All right.
I'll say, like, they're probably gonna hate me for this. Like, I did not like Breath of the Wild at all.
I also did not like Breath of the Wild.
I could not get into it. I tried. Like, I even went back and played it like maybe 4 or 5 times, trying to get into it. I just can't. Like, the breakable weapons really just frustrate me. I hate that mechanic. I don't understand it. In the world, to me, it's just like, I won't say it's bland. There's a lot of stuff in there, but it's like so few far between. It's like you get somewhere and it's like, okay, I finally made it to a spot where, okay, this is cool. Then like you spend another 45 to an hour and just waiting for something else to be cool. And like, I just can't do it. I just like, it's just so like kind of slow. And like, I get why people like it though. I understand its charm, like climbing up all the mountains and stuff. It's pretty cool, all of that. But my stamina was never good enough anyway. So I could never get up anything I wanted to try to get up. So I was like, I'm just not liking this at all. So I know I'm just like, I'm hurting a lot of people's feelings by saying this, but I'm sorry.
No, you're not. You're really not. You're absolutely right. Breath of the Wild is not a good game. It's not a good Zelda game, all right? Breath of the Wild had great achievements in the sense of the world, but like as Austin said, that world was almost completely empty. Yeah, you had the temples, but that's about it, you know? Yeah.
I see what you're saying. Like it was difficult sometimes, like to feel as though I found this cave. Oh, out of nowhere. Let me just go explore it. Oh, this chest gives you 5 arrows.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
Exactly. Like, which was again, it was a technical masterpiece. Let's put it that way, in the sense that it threw that genre of games, I guess, into the world. I don't know what I'm trying to say here.
You're definitely seeing that the influences of the game in games now. Like I could definitely, like, playing Ghost of Tsushima, I definitely see the Breath of the Wild inspirations.
Absolutely. I just don't think like they put so much energy into the world building that they didn't really focus on the story as much. Like, yeah, it was, we gotta defeat Ganon, and
What?
but that's
a Zelda game where they have to defeat Ganon?
yeah, but like at the same time, like you could have added more stuff to it. I didn't really like the 4 what was it? The 4
Divine Beast.
Yeah, Divine Beast was cool. I got that they were like their version of, the dungeons, or I guess you could probably say that. Yeah, the dungeons. But like I wanted more out of it, and I didn't get that, which is fine. I'll wait for Breath of the Wild 2 to disappoint me as well. Andrew, I see you're making faces at me and at Austin. What do you think about Breath of the Wild?
Yeah, I'm literally red in the face right now. With just, I think if we talk about games that are like referential games, like everyone references like this is the this is whatever Grand Theft Auto, and this was blah 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 Skyrim. I kind of think that this was the next step after Skyrim, like that it was such a cultural touchstone game that so many people loved and played that like I don't know. I think it's one of the best games I've ever played, and personally, I get why people say it's not like a Zelda. It's my favorite Zelda by quite a bit. I started like the first game I ever played was Zelda when I was like 2 or 3. I'd watch my mom play it on the NES, and then I would just take over and do the first dungeon because I was an idiot. That's all I could do, and do that ad nauseum. But it goes back to that, and I know everyone said this, but it goes back to the roots while also pushing forward, which I think is very exciting for the series. I get what some of you were saying, like when you're out in the world, it feels empty, lonely, but I think that's kind of what they were going for in a weird way.
Yeah.
Like there is a lot to find because that annoying pinging, like there's always something to go find and explore. But yeah, fair enough. It's not Red Dead Redemption 2 in terms of like how much is actively going around at all times. But I think they did a lot there with what they had. I think they transformed the series. Even things. One of the things that people debate around a lot is the weapons and then they break. And I understand that's frustrating. I hated it at first, but it kind of works because you can't build a habit. You can't be like, this is my great weapon and it's there the whole time. You find an awesome weapon, you're stoked, but you kind of want to save it. You're like, oh, do I want to save that for a big boss? Or I want to save that for the moment where I stumble across something I can't defeat. And then you pull it out and it saves your day and it works. But it's a hard start. Because the game it's friendly in that it puts you on the plateau, the Great Plateau, and it's safe. But it's also like, once you get out in the world, it's like, you really got to survive because it brings in those survival game elements without going too far. It's not Ark. It's not, some of those games. But you can go and hunt and collect and gather. Your enemies, drop resources that you use and make. But it was a world where I wanted to explore every corner. It felt like I was living in a Ghibli film. And I put around 300 hours into it, and it was so powerful that I was had a friends with benefits or whatever, and I made her play it, and she's not a gamer, and she fell in love with it. It was frustrating to watch because she just wanted to hunt because she didn't know how games work. She's like, oh, there's a deer, I'll track that down for 45 minutes. But even then, I was just so enthralled because she'd get these moments where it's a great game to watch someone who doesn't play games play because it has a lot of things we're used to in a very kind of refined but simple form. Nothing it's doing is pushing the most extreme crafting or the most extreme combat or anything like that. But I think it does what it does really well. And fair enough, not everyone loves it, but I think it's a really minimalist game. Like the music is really minimal. The worlds are they're not, in my opinion, not sparse, but I can see some of you think they are. But when there's life, it kind of like, it stands out. Like you find a deer and you can ride that deer. And those are like cool little moments that you discover and naturally stumble upon. Or what was the little town you can build up over time? There's a little village you can build up.
Hikaru Village or something like that. Start with an H, I think.
I forget the name, but people know what I'm talking about. But I don't know. I love the game. Like when I go to sleep, I put on like lo-fi Breath of the Wild music, and that game stuck with my heart. I don't know.
Very good game.
For me, it was more of like I think when I think of Zelda, I think, oh, it's a story. And it had a story, but the story wasn't as hefty as I wanted it to be.
There are things you can find in the world. Like you can find, I think they're called memories, and you get a bit more of what happened between like Princess Zelda and in the past, but you have to actively seek those out. Like it's not presented to you beyond like 1 or 2 of them as like, it's there. So it does have story, but yeah, it's not Red Dead Redemption 2. I can't pretend it's that in terms of story, but I don't know, it worked for me. I think it's a kind of you make your own story sort of game.
Okay. Who's next? Who wants to bring up their Switch exclusive? I guess I'll go. My Switch exclusive is going to be... Right, guys are going to hate me for this, but I'm going to say it anyway. Let's Go Pikachu. And the only reason why it was Let's Go Pikachu was because nostalgia reasons. Pokemon Yellow was the first game I had ever actually owned, and I played that shit for literally at least 800 hours, to the point where I broke the game and I had to send it out to Nintendo and try to see if they can get it fixed. And they sent it back and it broke even more. So I had to buy a new copy. Let's Go Pikachu, while annoying at times, it was really great to feel excitement for a new version of the game. Yeah, it didn't really have the catching. You can catch Pokemon I would say battle wild Pokemon, which sucked, but I still liked it. And yeah, I still liked it. It was really fun.
Well, I don't do Pokemon, so I'm out of this one.
God damn it, Eric.
I'm with Eric. I don't do it. I mean, when I was growing up, I was hating on Pokemon because I was a Yu-Gi-Oh guy. I was on
Hell
the Yu-Gi-Oh
yeah!
I was like, fuck Pokemon, bro. This is Yu-Gi-Oh very sad.
You're gonna have to leave. All right.
That's how I was growing
Also,
up. But now I understand
this one's for you, Nick Eden.
At least
Digimon's great.
fuck you too. All right.
Digimon, digital monsters.
If Nick Eden wants to listen to this, I'll tell it straight to his face too. Digimon was just a ripoff of Pokemon. All right. Fuck you, Digimon. Fuck now. All right.
Agumon would whoop Charmander's ass any day of the week.
That's just not true,
Digimon feels less genuine. It feels like it's there to market to children versus Pokemon literally was to market to children, right? But the game came and then the anime and everything versus we're gonna force an anime and then there's a bunch of games, a bunch of toys. I don't know. The order felt more genuine to me, but that's maybe I was too young and just swallowed the Pokemon pill too hard. But I was a Digimon kid too. Yu-Gi-Oh for a bit. I'm more embarrassed about the Yu-Gi-Oh. I think that's the cringiest of the three, to be honest.
It really is.
You don't have the heart of the cards then.
Come on, man. Yu-Gi-Oh's very sad.
They're in a cookie tin in Saskatchewan. I'll go dig them up for you and mail them your way. But yeah,
Pokemon. Cut you off earlier, Austin. By the way, and you, Andrew. I'm sorry for cutting everybody off. I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's
realities. I was dealing with it.
I was just apologizing. That's all.
How Canadian of you. So yeah, I'll say Pokemon Let's Go. They're great. I got Eevee, not Pikachu, but same stuff basically, right? It's a lot of fun, but I really enjoy it. It's a nostalgia trip, but I wonder if you weren't nostalgic, how strong it would really pick up unless you're a child.
Yeah. I
think for a child, it's an amazing, my first RPG, which kind of Pokemon was for a lot of us. And if you're nostalgic, our age, I think it's spot on. But if you were 17 right now and it was your first Pokemon game, I don't think it's going to be the one that sells you on it. I'm sure some people, but it's great fun. But it's the battle, the catching system in Let's Go. Is that the one where they did where you had
to throw it? Yeah,
that was the weakest part because you had to physically throw it, which is cool as an option. But I would have preferred more of the traditional. I'm glad they tried something new, but I think it's a little weak on that front. The game overall, it's really good.
Yeah. Okay. Who wants to go next with their exclusive?
I can go. I mean, I'm going to say Super Mario Odyssey for me. I really love Mario. I was more connected with Mario than I was Zelda. So for me, Mario growing up has always been one of my favorites to go to with Nintendo. I wouldn't say it's my favorite out of the series, though. I feel like there's more. I feel like there's better Mario games than Odyssey. But Odyssey really, it captured me, man. I really liked Odyssey. I really liked the worlds, the different little worlds you went to. I know it's more of a collectathon, and I didn't really care for collecting every single, but it was fun. I really enjoyed it. I feel like the platforming was there as always. I feel like it was fun, fluid. There's a few levels that were really fun and oh man, this is really cool and innovative how they did this. A few levels that I really enjoyed. They took it there and it was fun. I feel like the ending of the game was really strong too. I really liked the ending and how it all kind of wrapped up. And I just want to shout that out because for me, I would say a good 70, 80 hours into Mario Odyssey and I really enjoyed it. But I'm not the type of guy to collect every single, it's it's just a little bit too much for me, but I really enjoyed my time with it. So that was my game.
I think it's fantastic. The music in that game alone, like Jump Up Superstar, is one of the best video game songs I've heard in a long time. That sticks in your head forever. You just want to, know, be on that Broadway that doesn't exist. But yeah, they took that series and they really found a way to bring it back to that N64 era, sort of Mario 64, where you've got a bunch of varied worlds, which was different what they were doing on Wii U and things like that. And Galaxy was great, but it was such a departure where it's just like in space and everything's around these sort of orb-like planets. With Odyssey, you get put in these spaces and there's so much to find, and you really feel like every 2 minutes you're finding a secret. And millions of people have found it, but you feel like, I'm the one who found that. That's a cool little thing I found, and I can tell my friends about. If you climb to this thing and do this, you'll get it, or whatever. And they play on nostalgia in appropriate ways, where there's little moments where you're like, oh, we're doing a little 2D side scroller, but they don't overdo it. And then there's also like twists, like spoiler to the end of Mario Odyssey, everyone. But like when you take control of Bowser,
yes,
that's for Mario, which is a series that's not story based. That's one of the strongest sort of twists you could put into that story, and it works. And it was fun, and it was short, and it needed to be short. That wouldn't stick for a whole game, but for 5 minutes, you're like, yeah, I'm tearing through everything. Oh, that game was perfect. Perfecto, I think, as Mario would say, but with a way more better accent, and probably a sombrero now. I don't know why.
Yeah, I completely agree with what you just said. It was pretty good. I really liked it a lot. It took some time for me to get used to, because I didn't play Galaxy. So when I think of Mario, I think of World 1 of 1. So it took some time for me to get used to like the worlds, which was, like it is what it is. I like that they were thinking out of the box, and I liked it a lot. I like the new hat thing that they did, which is pretty cool, trying to take over characters.
That was genius. So small, but it's so powerful. That's a genius game design move.
I was actually worried when I saw that. I was like, oh, why are they adding this? What is this going to be? When I was seeing it from that trailer, I'm like, this is going to be like a gimmick type thing. Like, what is going on? But when I was playing, I was like, oh, this is really innovative. Like, I'm digging this. Like, it's a cool way to add like a spin on Mario, because it's not like the same, I feel like that was a cool mechanic there.
Yeah.
But that's what Nintendo does best. They take a gimmick and they flush it out, right? Like gimmick we think is a bad term, but it's really not. It's just something unique or novel. And they take that and they stretch it out in as many ways as possible. And they make that small pizza a large pizza, to use Italian terms, because it's Mario, right? Like they find a way to make it work. And so that's what I think people who don't love Nintendo or didn't grow up with it, like don't understand about them. They'll take a small little nugget of an idea and turn that into a whole game and it be fresh the whole time.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Let's get to the next game, because I know Andrew has to go in an hour. So
I like Mario.
You like Mario? Did you know, Eric? What was your
let him have his piece. Like talk about it.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I didn't grow up with a Nintendo, but like obviously Mario is one of those where it just transcends everything. So I thought Mario was neat. I beat Bowser. I did it. My friend keeps harping on like I got to go collect all the 900 moons. I'm like, no, thank you. So it was fun. It was a great game. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, I wouldn't collect them either, but I think by having so many, it has some that are super simple for kids and stuff, but some that are so technically demanding that you really need to be like top level play, and it allows for both types of players, which I think is pretty strong as well for their design.
Okay. Eric, did you say? Yeah, you definitely did say your pick for Nintendo, right? Yeah,
I did Breath of the Wild.
Yes. It's Andrew. It's your turn.
Okay. So there was two that jumped out really strong.
Okay.
And I can kind of make it work. So like I am Villager Incarnate from Animal Crossing. Like I keep a little like Tom Nook and a little like Villager thing by me at all times. So there's two options I can go here, but they're both top notch. I have to say Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Holy crap.
Fuck yeah.
What a game. Yeah. Like they pack so much. It's basically literally virtually any other thing you can put on every other Smash Bros. Game, all packed into one. Any character you could want, plus all the DLC and expanded characters. The music library alone is probably worth the price of admission.
Yeah.
Although I don't know anyone who's actually doing what they did in the trailer. Like, yeah, put it in your pocket and use it like an iPod. Like, no one's doing that. But
I did it for a couple days.
You are a bold man. Good for you. But like the game is so fun. It offers so much. Like I think one thing I did miss from it is a subspace emissary style story mode. But for a game so large, I have to give them. They tried to do something with that, whatever story mode they had, where they had the board and the different challenges. And I get they didn't want to build it because it's a huge game. It's a huge. People don't play fighting games like what is a few characters? Like no, it's a huge game, and so they didn't do a full campaign, but they made a campaign work with what they had. And I think that's whenever you hear about using limited tool sets to create something, I think they did that super well. Was the single player perfect? No, but that's an endless game, and there's so much there.
Yeah. I have to completely agree with you. I honestly completely forgot about Super Smash Brothers when I was thinking of my favorite exclusive or best exclusive. Just because like I play it almost every weekend. Well, before Corona, almost every weekend with my friends, and we just sit on the couch and fucking play this game to our heart's content. And it's just such a fun game. I love that they put in every character they could possibly have. I like that they're still including characters to this day. That really shows me how they love this franchise.
And they bring in huge out of the blue, like Banjo. Like what? That was huge.
I'm not expecting Banjo. It's just I think Nintendo is smart to put like, yeah, do whatever you got to do. Just this is your game. You want to add freaking Banjo Kazooie, go right ahead. You want to add
Pillsbury Doughboy, make it happen.
Yeah, like literally we'll back you, whatever you want to do. Just like please continue adding content to this game, and I love it. Yeah, that's pretty much what I have to say for that.
Yeah, I say too, like for me, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is a phenomenal game. Like I play it just as much as you, like you said, on the weekends with my friends. I feel like that's where the game's best at, those when you're playing with other people. Sometimes for me, like I can't play it by myself. I know the story's there, but the story just wasn't doing it for me. I feel like they could have made the story a bit better for like single player people, but Smash Bros. Is really just like with your friends online, like just having fun, having a blast. Like I go to college and we have like this little like area where we all just go play Smash like all day. When we on lunch break, it's always Smash time.
College is about smashing.
Yeah, exactly. You can take that either way you want, and it's so fun. Like I said, piggyback on what you said, they really love this franchise. Like they care so much about Super Smash. It is so you can just tell the thought in every single detail, all the music they added, like all the music, like from the call, like the past previous, like all the characters are back, like even the levels is like, oh my god, like they really just dove straight deep. Like we went head first, like we're making this like the biggest. Like I don't even think they need to make another like Super Smash Bros. Game. Like they can just keep adding on to this one, and it would be perfect, honestly. So
yeah, I think that pretty much sums it up. Eric?
Yeah.
It's a fun game. That's pretty much what I got. Like, I mean, I like I said, I didn't grow up with a Nintendo, so I wasn't like, I didn't have, like, I played Smash at friends' house and stuff, but it never was one where, like, freak out, like, oh my god, Donkey Kong's new moveset is crazy. But I have the game because it's Super Smash Bros. Because it's another one of those that it transcends just video games. Like everyone pretty much knows about Super Smash Bros. And it's an event. Yeah. So like playing it is fun. I love that they added Joker and Persona stuff. That's probably my favorite thing they did. But it's one of those where it's just a fun game to play. That's all I can say about it.
One last little note on it, I think on a design level, like the fact that so many people have tried to copy it and have failed shows how good Smash is as a series as a whole. Because there was PlayStation All-Stars, there was all these like Cartoon Network fight garbage, and none of them hold up. And this one they knock it out of the park every time.
Yeah.
PlayStation All-Stars, hell yeah.
I'm a fan, but it had some big issues.
It's for you, Emmett. PlayStation All-Stars is the best.
I think the good thing about Nintendo is that they have those characters that, yes, Mario is probably Nintendo's greatest icon, but Like they also have Pikachu. They also have Donkey Kong. They also have Link. They also have Zelda. They also have Ice Climbers, which is
Oh.
yeah. They also have the Villager. Trust me, I hate Ice Climbers as much as anybody probably else does. They have that roster of characters, which is like they stand out, and like yeah, they were able to make a game out of those roster of characters. I don't think anybody else has those roster of characters that you could probably make a game out of. We've seen with PlayStation Battlestars. We've seen with PlayStation
All-Stars Battle Royale.
There you go. Thank you.
The original Battle Royale.
Yeah, exactly. It didn't work just because I didn't really get a chance to play it, but I don't think it worked because Sony doesn't have that line of characters that Nintendo has. And you can say that yes, they do have the line of characters. Yes, well, I completely agree. I just don't think that in a fighting game it works.
You don't care about Starhawk Fighter? What?
I don't even know what Starhawk Fighter is.
I think his name's Emmett, and I can't remember, and that's kind of the problem.
Okay. All right.
And their characters that were original were things like Big Daddy. I'm like, that's not even like a Sony character.
Yeah, exactly.
Which Nintendo does too, but they also built in 70 other characters who are Nintendo characters.
Correct. Exactly. They started off with straight Nintendo characters, which is fun. Honorable mentions. Who wants to start?
I'll just quickly say Animal Crossing is not for everyone, but if it's for you, holy crap, that game is perfection for what it is, and it's not for everyone. Yeah. If you're in that kind of like sim chill out game, 10, 15 minutes a day, can become 2 hours a day, it's perfect.
I was playing Animal Crossing up until I spent like, I want to say at least $1 million in-game currency and bought some stocks and wasn't able to. I guess there was the server went down and all my stocks went rotten, and I stopped playing it because I got so frustrated.
Bad stonks.
Yeah, bad stonks.
It's not a Nintendo exclusive, but it's where I played the game. Definitely Celeste. Celeste is really good. Like I know it's on other platforms, but I bought it for my Switch, and that game's fantastic. And I wish more people played that game.
It feels Nintendo too. Like the whole spirit of that game feels like it could be something they made.
Yeah, it's really good. It's really hard. It's really hard, but it's really good.
Wasn't only on Nintendo for a good while though? I thought it was.
I think it was the only console you could get it on. It was only on like PC and Switch, and then they added it to everything else.
Yeah.
Yeah, I played Celeste on Switch too. It's awesome game. I want to my auto mention would be Super Mario Party just because I love Mario Party a lot. Mario Party, like I go to my friend's house. Well, not anymore because Corona, but we go there play Mario Party with his mom. His mom loves it. His sister loves it. We go over there. Yeah, and we get Mario Party gets really intense and people get angry. A lot of people get angry
because the game cheats you.
Yeah, you could say it does. I mean, but. Bro, it's the roll of the dice, man. It's like you just don't know what you're gonna get every time you play. I love Mario Party. It's fun. I mean, that's not the best Mario Party, of course. I mean, I love was it Super Mario Party 4? I think that was on Nintendo 64. I think that's my favorite one. But the new one is really good too. Like I just love Mario Party. It's just a good couch co-op. Just everybody's having fun. Well, not always having fun, but it's just like. You just get so into it, man. Like people just get so angry and so frustrated and like, oh my God, like why don't you take that star away from me? Like, I can't believe you did that. It's just a fun game, and I just want to give it a shout out. So there you go.
Really great game. My honorable mention is not really a console exclusive, but I'm gonna have to go with Katana Zero. It was really good.
Andy Cortez likes that game.
Yeah. It was really, really good. Like, it was a really great game, and that's all I'll say. If you haven't played it, go play it.
I haven't, but you can say Switch is sort of the perfect... Like, it's the Vita replacement. Like, if you just want a quick, easy indie game player, you can lie in bed, you can put it on your TV. Yep. It's kind of... So even though I haven't played Katana Zero, that sums up, like, Celeste and Katana Zero are the games that feel perfect for Switch.
Yes, and that absolutely is. I completely agree with that statement.
Mario Kart 8, we love you.
Yes, we do.
Just a remake. It's just a HD version of an HD game. I don't know.
Yeah, that's why I didn't say anything about it. But
I have it on my Wii U. God damn it!
Okay.
All three of us who bought those.
Okay, let's go with Xbox, and I'll start it off. I think the only console exclusive game I played for Xbox this generation, Halo Master Chief Collection, which is kind of a cheat, but like you gave me all the Halos, so I'll take it.
yeah,
I mean, that really all needs to be said. You just have all Halo in one place.
Exactly. You got nothing else to say. Like
It's one of those series. Hear the theme song. Like there's a few that kind of get you, like Zelda. I think Smash Bros. And I think Halo is sort of in that. You just hear that do do do. You're like, oh shit, we're going, boys. Forget those fucking needlers out. Let's go wild.
Needler, best gun in the game. Some might say.
Some might say.
Yeah.
Clearly, you.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously they had issues when that game launched, like severe issues, but
On the
they've been
multiplayer end.
yeah, they've been able to turn that around really good. Like I got it on my PC, and it's great to play Halo on mouse and keyboard. I mean, that's it's Halo. That's all. It's like Mario and Zelda. Like we know what it is. It's great.
yeah.
Solid campaigns though, great multiplayer. Like there's questionable decisions in the later ones, but like you've got great story modes and then great multiplayer too. So for what it's doing, FPS, it's top of the class. Like,
What's y'all's favorite Halo though in the whole series?
I'm about to drop a hot take on y'all. Really hot take. Here we go. The
Five in my mouth.
The Bungie campaigns are not good at all.
Can we ban him, or?
The first good Halo campaign was let's see, 4 for me.
Okay.
Like I really like that Cortana starts going crazy. Like I really like that. Whereas, because like the first 3 games was pretty much it all followed the same beat. It was like, all right, you go to Halo or you go to this weird new place, you fight the Covenant. Covenant starts doing weird stuff. Oh my God, here comes the Flood. It's the Flood, everybody. You remember those? Hey, stop the Flood. All right, Covenant's doing their bomb thing or whatever. Okay, all right, game over. Da 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 da, and then that's it. I felt as though like they started doing really good with Reach. Like Reach was like a really good I really liked that campaign. But the first one I truly was like, oh man, this is really good. I enjoyed this a lot. Was 4. And I know not a lot of people like what 343 has done so far, but I really like what they've done with campaigns. 5 is not that great though.
I thought about it while you were talking, and yes, I'm gonna have to agree with you. 4 is probably my favorite campaign, but I don't like that they just. I guess the group of enemies that they introduce were just one and done. You know, like I think they popped up in 5, but it wasn't that big of a deal. But yeah, I'm trying to think of 1 through 3's campaigns, and it's like all mushed together. I don't really remember them.
Some of the best multiplayer you'll ever play. Like
absolutely,
those games are fantastic for its multiplayer. But like the Halo 1 through 3 campaigns, I'm just like, eh.
Yeah.
And Halo 3 was a moment. Like that was the biggest game ever, I think, at the time when it came out, in terms of like launch weekend or something. Like that was a cultural touchstone moment for gaming. So yes, we're talking about Master Chief Collection, but that includes that. So for me, that's my go-to Halo.
Yeah.
I can't wait for Infinite.
I think it looks good, not graphics wise or whatever. I have no issues with the graphics, but I think the game looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah. It looks like it could be fun. My worry is that I said this last episode, but my worry is that it's do too much with the open world stuff, that it's not enough, if that makes sense. Like if you put so much into the open world, like with Zelda, you put too much in the open world and there's not enough stuff for you to do, it could kind of go sideways.
Gotta get our hands on it to find out. Like it's year right now, right?
I'm excited. I'm hoping it's pretty soon, but yeah, I'm excited to see what happens in Infinite.
Yeah.
Next person, which I think is me, probably. Not good.
I
just went. Yeah, I just went. Sorry.
Do it again. That's all Halo's got, right? That's the joke. That's all they've got on Microsoft. I'll go then. No, I won't. You kill go.
No, you started. That's my bad.
Okay, yeah, it's just Zoom life now, right? Everyone's cutting
Right?
everyone off. Anyways, so this is going to be one that I think out of a lot of gamers will be annoyed by, but I think I could argue it hopefully well.
Oh my God! Don't annoy the gamers.
Well, because there's hardcore gamers in quotes that have a very particular taste, and I don't think that always accounts for a lot of actually who gamers are. So I'm going to say the Forza Horizon 3 or 4. I can't pick. They're basically interchangeable at some point. But those games, I'm not a racing guy, are some of the most fun open world games I've ever played, and they're so versatile that you can just like. It doesn't sound like much, but changing from like a jokey vehicle like a Volkswagen like hippie van to like a high-end sports car, and you're ripping around and you do the like. Has anyone played these other than me? The Forza games?
Yeah, I play them. They're great. They're fantastic.
Yeah, so I'm not a racing guy, but like you've got so much of the world to explore. You've got these barn finds, which you'll understand. Like you go out and you find these secret spots on your map, and they like unlock brand new like supercars that you wouldn't get access to. The Drivatar system is really interesting because basically, say I'm playing with you guys, it will remember like how you race, and even if I'm not playing with you, you will appear in my world. And if I want to race you, I can race an AI that plays like you do. So if you're really aggressive, it will be really aggressive. If you're really calm, it will be, and that's just out there in the open world to find. There's a great photography system in the game. Like it's one of the best like photo systems in a game. Multiplayer and single player are super integrated. And the set pieces, like when you talked about Spider-Man earlier, you talked about set pieces. The Forza games will put you in like, you're going to race fighter jets. And you just have to like figure it out. And they set it up perfectly so you get like around this corner and the planes will like swoop right over top of you. And they'll have like music blasting, and they have like 10 or so of these each game. And then when they go to DLC, they go crazy. Like they did a Hot Wheels DLC where it's like, imagine the craziest tracks you designed as a kid. Now you can bribe them with like a Ferrari or a Porsche or that Volkswagen shitty van, whatever you want. It's doable. So I'm not a racing guy, but I will die on that hill. The Forza games are amazing.
Yeah,
Okay.
I definitely prefer the Horizon games because I don't like the motorsport ones. Or the ones that get like, hey, if you just change your right axle by 0.2 degrees, you're gonna get faster in turns. I don't like stuff like that. I did enjoy the hey, here's a dune buggy, go ride it on the beach. All right, that's fun. So yeah, I definitely agree with you. Horizon games are great.
And they're adjustable too.
Yeah,
if you're not a racing head, like you can make it as technical or as like arcadey as you want. Like you can have a guide that shows you when to brake, when to stop, and do everything. Or you can have like, no, I want this to be like sim and as complex as possible. You can do both. I cut someone off. I'll shut up.
I was just gonna say, like, you actually kind of sell me a little bit on this because, like, I'm not a racing guy at all. So I was like, I just didn't really care for any racing game. If I see racing, I'm like, I'm not even gonna pay attention to it. But the way you're talking, I was like, oh, the Hot Wheels thing, like the dune buggy on the beach, and like, this is actually kind of sound pretty fun. I might actually want to dive into it because, like I said, like, I haven't played any. Only like racing game I ever played was like Need for Speed. I played that. I like Midnight Club. Midnight Club was fun. And NASCAR games. And those games was like whatever. So yeah, I'm kind of sell me a little bit on it. I want to.
If you have Game Pass, just try it.
Yeah, I have Game Pass.
It's the best podcast game ever. Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay.
I really hope that the Fable remake is just Fable with cars since it's playground.
Just ripping around in a Ferrari and smashing orcs.
Those orcs would also be cars. Although I don't know what an orc
Shrek
would be.
crossover with cars. Let's make it happen, boys.
What did you do in my swamp?
Okay. Who's next?
I can go next.
Okay.
Sunset Overdrive is gonna be mine. Dude, I love that game, man. That game is so fun. Like I feel like it's so like a lot of people just don't give it like its due diligence for some reason. Like I feel like that game was really good, and I feel like the sales was not there. It did not sell enough, so we probably never see another one. But for me, it's like a gem on Xbox One. Like you cannot really play it anywhere else but Xbox One. Like it's still there. It's still on there. It's not on PlayStation yet, and it's been 6 years now since it came out. I think it came out in like 2014.
I don't think
it's one of the first Xbox One games that came out. So that game is so like chaotic in a way where like the grinding, it was like so smooth. Like the traversal is awesome in the game. I feel like another game that's super funny. I feel like Insomniac is really good at making comedy, like so good. Like they're really good with the comedy in games. So that game was super funny. I love the characters. I love how wacky it was. You just doing your thing. And the music was fun too. It kind of reminded me like Tony Hawkaloo in a way, like how like kind of like how fun it was, traversal and all that, and the music was just so good to go with it. And I just want to shout out Sunset Overdrive because I feel like that's a really good game and legit on Xbox One that a lot of people kind of look over in a way.
Yeah,
it was a great game. It was like the build up, and when I played that game, it was like, oh yeah, they could totally do Spider-Man, right?
Yep.
It's like the traversal in that game was really good. It got a little tiresome for me after a while. I think I finished like 2/3 of it. And I thought like the punk rock aesthetic was really fun, but it got a little old after a while. But it's definitely a great game. Like you should definitely check it out if you haven't played it.
Yeah, it's fun.
I'll check it out this weekend. Well, next weekend.
You got a lot of games to play, Ruben.
Yeah, man.
I really do. And I would think that I have a crap ton of games. Let me move the camera to show you guys. It's not that big, but it's a shit ton of games for me to play.
Oh,
It's not about size; it's about how you use them. So it's okay.
Yeah, I have not a lot of time. I'm still working, so 8 hours at work, and then I come home, then I'm exhausted, and then I go to sleep, and then I have the weekend, do stuff with the girlfriend, do stuff with the family. It's a whole bunch of stuff.
Quit bragging, okay?
It's not bragging. Trust me.
I've got a family. I got a girlfriend. I have a job.
I'm sorry. If it's
the dream.
No, it's not the dream at all.
You're not a gamer.
Screw you guys. My wife plays games and it's fantastic.
Listen,
that's fiction. That doesn't know. Anime twist.
All right, so I guess it's my turn now. So I got 2 choices here, but I'm pretty sure if I don't talk about one now, it's going to get talked again. Ori and the Blind Forest is so good. I have not played Will of the Wisps yet. It's downloaded on my PC, ready to go. But what a lovely gem that game is.
Great game.
It's so good. Just the old school Metrovania, but just so freaking pretty.
Yep.
It's actually pretty hard too, though.
And it's hard. It's not just like, hey, it's some cutesy art style and everything. Like, no, this will run you into the ground. This is difficult.
I love when those like that and Celeste kind of prove that like all the game design additions we get with all these crazy like crafting systems and RPG systems and everything we build in. Like I worked on Shadow War, like Nemesis, and you can still go back to a 2D platformer and it can still blow your mind and still be one of the best things you played. Like it's just pure game design.
A lot of fun, those games. And I'm glad that they're on Switch. I wish they also, would come to PlayStation so more people can play them, but that probably won't happen. But it's a great game.
I'll never say never. Cuphead was able to.
Yeah. Cuphead! Yeah, let's talk about Cuphead.
We should.
We really should. Well, that was going to be my honorable mention.
Good.
It's such a really great game.
I remember E3 2014 when I think was it 2014 where they initially showed it in like the indie showcase.
Yeah, it was just a little snippet in a larger montage. Like, oh, you guys won't care about this. Just whatever.
Yeah, I remember watching it and thinking like, oh, what was that? What was that right there?
That art sounds phenomenal.
Yeah. I'm really glad that it took off the way it did, and I love that everybody has a chance to play it now. I think for as much as I hate it, I love it.
So I had to put it down and pick it back up like 1,000 times because it's frustrating.
Yep.
Very difficult
for me,
game.
It's one of those games that like for me when Crash came back on this current gen, I was playing all the way through them. I broke a PS4 controller that I got so angry at this fucking game. And I think if the Joy-Cons weren't so expensive, I also probably would have broken a couple of those. But like I just learned my lesson with Crash. Yeah. It's a really great game.
I need to be careful with it because I know some people who worked on it because it's a weird game where it's like made in 2 or 3 different spaces. Like it was all made remotely, sort of thing. But it like you can't, I think, underplay how significant it was to take a retro style like rubber hose animation, like old school 1930s animation, and do that by hand. That is a brutal and painstaking project of love that like no one picks up, or you pick up and you quit 2 weeks in because you realize like, oh my God, we bit off way more than they can chew. And these 2 brothers, plus a few other friends and other people in the community, like who weren't game designers, made a 10 out of 10 sort of level game, you know, questionable, you know, 9, 10 level game. And they weren't game designers. They were, you know, one was working construction and they just had a passion and a love for old games and old animation, and they brought it together. And the musical, oh my God, Cuphead is a masterclass, one of the classics, I think, of this generation.
Yeah.
I want to give a shout out to the bosses in Cuphead because they're bosses. As like, I don't get they are difficult, but they're like the design of them, like how like the whole level is kind of based around a certain boss, and like, man, like the more and more I had to like look up videos later on because I could not beat the game. I just like I can't beat it, so I just like I looked on YouTube and saw like the later like bosses, and their bosses like really like looked incredible, like how everything was set up. Although it's hard, but it's really great to look at. Like it's so fun.
It's doable. I think the final boss is the dragon, as he mentioned, is a stopping point for a lot, and the final boss with the roulette is just stupid hard. But you talk about the dragon. Go on that. That's needs talking about.
Oh, that's all. That's all I have to say. Fuck the dragon.
I'm glad we went back to that.
I don't even think I even made it to the dragon. That's how hard it was for me. So
I think I stopped at the dragon before I got too upset at it.
Pro tip, I use I don't remember the name, but the one that like locks onto your enemies. So you just basically hold down the trigger and dodge. It does less damage, but if you can just survive, it's your way through the game.
Okay. I'll try that out.
But you have to last longer, which is half the challenge.
Yeah. Any other honorable mentions? I don't think Andrew.
Rare replay. Again, you can't make this your best of the generation because it's not a game; it's a collection.
Yeah.
But that's how collections should be done. It doesn't include everything under the Rare library because we all know the legal situation of like being a Nintendo second party and then sort of moving over to Microsoft. But they went and dug deep to like some real crap old games, which were impressive for the time, but like no one wants to go back and play. Let's be honest, some of those really old ones. But they gave them the same level of love and attention as they did for like Perfect Dark. And the fact that one purchase for $30 when it came out got you 30 great games mostly great games, and then the full like documentaries on how they're made, and like the production quality was amazing. Rare hasn't output much. They did Sea of Thieves and a few little other things, but like that I think Rare Replay is, if you're into video game history, it's a must own.
Yeah.
Bye.
My laptop's going dead.
Oh, okay.
Mine just shut off halfway through, so I don't know.
Any other honorable mentions?
I think we should talk about, that new Splinter Cell game that came out.
No, Nick's not here.
What?
We don't need to talk.
Yeah. Let's see. I really one that I actually particularly enjoyed, even though a lot of people didn't really like it, was the launch game Rise: Son of Rome. I really dug that game. I really dug that game. I mean, it was one of those games definitely that was made like, hey, use your Kinect to tell your soldiers to go do stuff. The future of gaming. But no, it was fun. It was very much a linear hit a button, quick time event ordeal. But it was neat. It was one of the prettiest games I had played for the longest time. But yeah, shout out to it. It was cool.
I think it's the Xbox One's. What's that game where you like play? It's like a Steam in London, and I'm blanking on it, and it's not getting a sequel.
Order 1886. Order 1886.
Where like if you had a sequel, there's so much potential there, but they didn't get that sequel.
Which sucks.
Order 1886 is a good game.
Yeah, it's an okay game.
I've heard. Yeah,
Great
I've heard
world,
the
okay
opposite.
game.
Yeah, it's. I give it a 6. So okay.
Yeah. But
Um,
both that has like the potential's there. You know what I mean? If you just had like that second chance, you really think they could push it.
I want to go back to like Rare Replay just for 1 second because I love Conker's Bad Fur Day. Like that's one of my favorite games of all time. Like I'm just gonna let y'all know that game for me when as a kid, I love that game. So playing it again on Xbox One, finally I was like, oh my god, like this is what I always wanted because that game for me was just so. I don't know, man. Like even the multiplayer was good when we was like couch co-op when we was like you could play as teddy bears and like squirrels and it's like this murder each other with machetes and it's like it's just a fun like it's very dark humor too. Like it's very like super. It's like one of like the. I think it's my first mature game I ever played. Honestly, because it was so, like there's one point there's a flower girl and you just bounce on her boobs. Like it's like what is this game? And I just fell in love with it. And then, look, yeah, there it is.
God.
My sealed copy of Conker's Bad Fur Day.
And I just want to say, like, they need to bring Conker back in some fashion. Like, I don't know why he's hidden.
They did use him
for the Project Spark stuff, but they didn't.
Yeah,
really.
and then for X Class or whatever it was too, they used him a little bit there, didn't they? Or like something like one of their glasses. I want a new Conker game too. Holy crap, that could be so good. Get Rick and Morty guys on it. Get Squanch Tendo or whatever they're called.
Eric, go ahead.
I think like Duke Nukem, this is just me personally. That and Conker just needs to be forgotten. Just put that in the past.
Sir,
move forward from that.
Get the fuck off of this podcast, all right?
Did you just compare Duke Nukem with Conker, man? Like I don't know.
So they're both trashy. I get where he's coming from. Like Conker is not a classy game. You jump on a sunflower's tits. We were just talking about that. But I think you can convert it into the Rick and Morty style humor. You know what I mean? Like kind of like self-deprecating instead of offensive, which is a lot of comedy went from like, oh, let's make fun of race and gender. Now we're making fun of ourselves because it's the only thing you can. I think they could make that change and make it work. But yeah, Duke Nukem, I think, is stuck in misogyny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Going back to Conker, you fight like a boss fight in Conker is you fighting a big pile of shit and you have to kill it with toilet paper.
As he sings opera at you.
It's such
it sings opera at you.
Eric, you don't know what you're talking about.
My most memorable gaming moments ever is that. So
I am the great mighty Pooh.
I'm gonna throw my shit at you. Anyways, we're going on a tangent right now, but
yeah, that's all right.
Bring back Conker.
Yeah, man,
yes,
bring it
I
back.
was really kind of hoping for them to say we're also working on Conker's Bad Fur Day, but of course not. Anybody else have any other honorable mentions?
Game Pass. It's not a game, but holy crap.
Yeah.
I want to shout out the Gears franchise. There's a lot of good Gears games that kind of get overlooked, but I like Gears.
I'm playing those for the first time right now, and they're not Dude Bro. Like they look like the biggest Dude Bro things ever, and they are, but they're really good. They hold up better than they should.
Yeah, I completely agree. I started off with 3 like an idiot and worked my way back with 1 and 2, and I really liked them. I have yet to play. Did 4 come out for the Xbox 360 or the Xbox One?
I think 1. Yeah,
I think it was near the start of the gen, and then 5 came out.
Yeah. I didn't play Gears 4, even though I still have it on my Xbox downloaded. But as I've said, I haven't turned on that Xbox in a while, but I've recently turned it back on. So I'm looking forward to playing that. 5, I think people have told me that they fell off the map with the story. Like they don't really know where they're going with it. So yeah, that's all I got.
I got one more honorable mention.
Okay.
Knack 2, baby. Let's go. Knack Attack.
Oh God, Eric, you are no longer welcome on this podcast. All right.
If we're talking about those like kind of games, I do need to bring up Bubsy 3D. Bubsy goes to the James Terrell retrospective as well.
Yeah,
It's
like
a
you
real
were talking
Look
about.
it up. Look it up. It's a fucking trip.
Okay. All right. I'll check it out.
It's free and it's weird.
Oh, it's free. You got me with free.
Yeah, it's just a
I'll
free
try.
Unity art game that's just like the weirdest crap you've ever played.
Okay. I'll check it out.
It's not
All right,
good,
guys.
but
I
it's
think
great.
that. Well, either way, it's free. I might as well check it out. I think that about covers everything we tried to cover for this episode. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining me. Andrew,
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, my pleasure. Next week, we are going to discuss the next generation PS5 versus Xbox Series X versus a possible Switch Pro. We'll see what happens. Andrew will be joining me again next episode, so we'll see him again pretty soon. Thank you, Austin, for coming on down or coming
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me. This is awesome.
My
I enjoyed it.
Eric, you are no longer welcome on this podcast, so you can get the fuck out.
All right.
I kid. I think Eric is actually coming back we're gonna discuss Avengers pretty soon when that
Hell yeah.
when the beta comes on. So I'm excited to talk to you about that. Thank you, gentlemen. I will see you next time I see you. Have a good day.
Have a good day.
Bye.
I'm going to go play Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah. Have a good night, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.